Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Want to do a quick update on something I added or changed in my game room. I will be doing a full game room update later in the year when I make some additional changes, but just want to do a quick update on some other additions I added to the console section of my game room. So I do have these three small shelves that I've added, and they're kind of broken down to Nintendo, Sega, and then PlayStation, as well as there's an Atari game. And I'll go over each one of these games in a moment here, but this I kind of wanted to have just a boxed copy of one game per some of these systems that kind of have some memories for my past gaming experiences with consoles. So I'm going to go over that here. If you're interested, stick around for that. Also, please do help me out to get to 1,000 subscribers and subscribe to my channel. If you like my content, it is random video games, hot food challenges, whatever I find interesting and want to share with friends and stuff. So hopefully you guys enjoy the content as well. So I'm not going to go over and call out all these games right here because in just a moment here in my video you will see me talking about each one and my memories of what they mean to me. If you're interested in that, stick around. Otherwise, check out my video of the game room in the comments, or not comments, in the link I posted below, and I will have an updated game room video coming up later this year once I get a new arcade one up that I had ordered. Alright guys, now I'm going to go over these games kind of in order of how I think of them for the most part. So, and how they became known to me. I'm going to start with Nintendo. The Atari one is obviously the first one of my memories, but I'm going to leave that one to last because that's kind of lame compared to the rest of these games being cool games. Actually, they're all cool games, even the Atari one. Super Mario Brothers 2, though, is one of the first games that has a memory for me, and this is in the NES era of games. But this game I remember playing constantly when it came out, kind of not liking it at first because it was so different than the original Super Mario Brothers. And there's a history of that you can find on YouTube, the history of why this game is totally different, if you don't know that already. But for me, this is a game I played a lot, beat it, and eventually just was able to beat it really quickly. Back in the old VCR days, I recorded myself playing this so I can just watch it and watch myself at the end of the game. The end of the game really stuck out to me with the song that plays. And spoilers for the game if you haven't played it, but the whole game is a dream for Mario. And I think the ending is just really cool on that. So that is the first game that kind of has memory to me, the Nintendo. That's my pick for the Nintendo era of NES. My second game is on the Genesis. And this is the next system I really went to, and Super Ghouls and Ghosts was the first game outside of the Pack-In Ultra Beast game that I got. And I played this like crazy. I was a fan of Ghosts and Goblins, and never played, this is not Super Ghouls and Ghosts, I'm sorry, that's the Super Nintendo version. But Ghouls and Ghosts, was a fan of this from the start. I liked it so much better than Ghosts and Goblins. It was a difficult game, but I was able to beat it. Whereas the original Ghosts and Goblins, in me, it's impossible. I can't beat that game. So this is the game I remember playing the most on the Genesis. Great game as well. Then we actually kind of go backwards in the Sega time frame to Alex Kidd in Miracle World. So this was from the Sega Master System. However, I did not play it until I had a Genesis and had the Master System adapter, base station I think it was called. So once I got that, then I started getting some Master System games. Alex Kidd in Miracle World was kind of the Mario-esque character of that era for Sega at the time. And this game was really fun. You can actually get a remake of this on current consoles, but recommend it as well. And this was the one that stood out for me related to all the Master System games that I played. Then we start getting into Super Nintendo. And while there's so many better games on Super Nintendo than Street Fighter 2, because this was originally an arcade game, this is the game I remember and have fond memories of. I was in college, had got a Super Nintendo, and me and my college roommate and other people would play this constantly. There were so many controllers thrown over it. I was better than most of them, but also I'm not super awesome at the game, so if I were to play somebody who really knows what they're doing, probably wouldn't do so well. But Against my friends at the time, I was pretty good. I was one of the better players, and resulted in some of my controllers getting broken because it was my system, my controllers, and friends would toss them around because they just get pissed off. But great game in its own. There are others. The Street Fighters that came after it, like Championship Edition, is the one I'd prefer to play, but that's the one I remember most. Then, going to probably the most expensive game here, at least in terms of as of recording of this, the Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time Collector's Edition. So this game, I was working at Best Buy in the video games department when the N64 came out, or was out. And I remember this game being announced, waiting for it, unpacking it in the back, setting one aside for myself, and waiting to get off work so I could buy it, and then consistently just waiting to get home every day to play this game on the Nintendo 64 until I eventually did beat it, and have gone back multiple times. I do have Majora's Mask as well, not in a box, but I've actually never beaten that game, never really played it a lot, so that's one I really just need to take some time and play, because I heard that one's pretty cool and like kind of has a dark twist in terms of, you know, in the whole Zelda franchise. Again, I like Ocarina of Time, or not Ocarina of Time, sorry, the new one, the new one on the Switch. I can't remember the name off the top of my head right now. That one I enjoyed a lot, so better than this one actually, but Ocarina of Time is still an all-time classic, and in my mind, the N64 game for me. Then we come to the Dreamcast, Crazy Taxi. Now, Dreamcast came out when I was working at Best Buy as well, after the N64 stuff, and before the PlayStation 2, but Crazy Taxi was in the arcades. I played it at my college. It was in our student center. I forget what the area was called, but they had the full sit-down version. Played it like crazy. And then I remember the advertisements for the Dreamcast when I worked at Best Buy. They talked about it, and the Offspring song that kept playing over and over again just digs into your head. Very fun game. I know they've remade it, had new versions, etc., but the original, and the Dreamcast version in particular, there is no replacement for in my mind. It's such a great game. Dreamcast, a really great system. Then we come to the PlayStation. Final Fantasy VII. This game, you hear praises about it all the time. They just remade it, or at least remade half of it, I guess. But the original, great RPG, something to get people into RPGs. I had played a few RPGs before this, like the original Final Fantasy on Nintendo, maybe one or two others, but this is one that really kind of, really got me into it. I remember sitting in my bedroom at the time that this came out, because that's where I had my systems, and was just played this like crazy. Friends would come over and just watch me play it for the story. So really cool memories around that game. Silent Hill 2 for the PlayStation 2. This one I don't have as many. This is the point in time where my real attachment memories to some of these games and systems kind of break off a little bit, because the games, at least in my life, I was older, and the memories, I guess, just don't mean as much to me when I started getting older related to what I was doing at the time with video games. But Silent Hill 2 is a great game, and I remember when this came out, just anticipation of it and how much better I thought this was than the first one. The story of this, just creepy, bizarre, weird. Just loved playing this. And this is also, again, I wouldn't say again, but this is also why I kind of stopped this shelf project at the PlayStation 2. Because past the PlayStation 2, when you get to the 3 and the 4, I never had any of the Xbox systems, but there's just, those games are kind of all jumble into one in my mind. It's like the whole era of the PlayStation 3, the whole era of the PlayStation 4, versus a individual game really standing out to me enough to say this is a game that represents that time frame for me. And then the last one, which is actually the first and oldest one in the system, is Atari 2600 Berserk. This game, Berserk in the arcade, there was an arcade in our town. I would walk up there when I was a kid and play Berserk and other games. But then when the Atari 2600, my parents got that for Christmas, I think, for me, maybe me and my sister. But we got that. I wanted Berserk when it came out. They had already bought me some other games, and they weren't going to buy it for me. And bad part of the story, and don't do this, is I stole money from my mom's purse and went up to the Osco near in our town. I rode my bike up there, walked up there, I don't know how, but went to the Osco where they were selling Atari games, apparently. They don't anymore. And bought Berserk, and I got caught, and I got in trouble for it. But and that's mainly the reason I have the memory of this game for the Atari 2600 is because of that story. So all these games are really great games. I'd recommend playing any of them if you haven't. A lot of these are kind of some of the standouts on the system in general. Like the Zelda and the Mario and Silent Hill and stuff like that. Some of the other ones, Ghouls and Ghosts, maybe not a standout for a lot of people. Street Fighter 2, Street Fighter 2, Street Fighter 2. But yeah, I'd say if you haven't played any of these games at all, play them all. Berserk, the arcade version, is way better than the Atari 2600 version, and probably easier to play or find if you want to play it newer on some collections or something like that. You'll find the Berserk, that's the arcade version, which is a much better game. But yeah, so those are some of my stories and memories of these games and why I created that shelf to put them on there. But yeah, one of the tops, Zelda. This one, since I don't normally collect box games, I just try to get cartridges that I want to play. And I had the Zelda game, I had the cartridge already. The box and manual for this is not cheap, so this was the last one I acquired. Just because I didn't want to spend a ton of money, but I managed to find it somewhat inexpensive compared to what they go for. So I did pick it up to complete my shelving collection. So hopefully you enjoyed this trip down memory lane for me. Tell me what your stories are of some games you remember or have memories of that are tied to a game or a console. Put those in the comments. Let me know. And yeah, like I said, I do have a tour of my whole game room that you see behind me and on that side of the camera. It's not huge, but it is a lot of arcade one-ups. So I'll put the link in the description so you can go watch that. And I did order Dragon's Lair from Atari arcade one-up. I can't speak today, sorry. But I did order Dragon's Lair. That's coming next. So whenever that comes out, you'll see a channel video of me assembling it. And then after that, I will create a video of the game room tour again, an updated one since I did one last year. And there's been 2 or 3 changes since then. Not a lot, but I'll just create a new tour to show everybody the changes. So thanks for watching my videos. Like I said, subscribe if you enjoy or want to see my future videos. I don't post super frequently, just kind of when I have something to post and share. So, but thanks again. Like this video if you liked the content. Thank you.